Check one, check two. Stay tuned here as we go live at 6 p.m. Pacific time. We'll catch you in just a few minutes. Stay tuned as we go live at 6 p.m. Pacific time. We look forward to seeing you all. We will be going live in just a couple minutes.
Hello, my name's Chris Allen of the MMA Fight Bible, MyMMAnews.com and the Martial Art Chat podcast, and this is your weekly MMA Power Hour news update. In the news today, a lot of us are starting to get very excited for seeing Khabib Nurmagomedov come back and defend his title against Dustin Poirier this year in Abu Dhabi. Well, Khabib's manager is already looking past Poirier, and Ali Abdelaziz is confident that his fighter Khabib will defeat Poirier, which will set up a fight nicely in December to take on the legendary George St. Pierre. But Dana White has shut this down straight away, saying this fight is never going to happen, because he's claiming when he brought George St. Pierre back to fight Michael Bisping, the deal was that he was going to fight Bisping and then defend his title, and Dana White feels as George St. Pierre didn't keep his side of the bargain, he doesn't feel he needs to step in and put GSP against the one he wants again. So Dana White did actually quote, "He made this deal with me that he would defend the title. He went in and saw Bisping as an easy fight. He fought Bisping, and then you look at the guys that are behind Bisping and they're all killers. They're all literally killers. But now to come back and he wants to fight at 155 pounds for the title, we're definitely not doing no goofy 165 pound whatever. That's never going to happen." So Dana White is obviously thinking he doesn't deserve it, but again, in the past money's talked, and the fan favourite fights have always seemed to come out of the woodwork in the end. So Dana White also stated to that, "I guess if I get into a position where Khabib the champ wants it bad enough, we're going to have to talk about it, but at the end of the day, it doesn't make sense to me. You have other guys lined up behind him. You're just asking me if Tony Ferguson is going to get a shot. Well, we'll give you a shot after GSP slides in at 155 and gets his shot. Then you've got Conor McGregor who wants a rematch." So there's lots of issues surrounding what could happen after the Khabib-Poirier fight, but at the end of the day, don't count out Poirier. He could upset everyone and put all this, talk about who Khabib's going to fight next and if GSP deserves it, because at the end of the day, if Poirier does come through and defeat Khabib, then all this talk's for nothing, and that's why Dana White, I think, is not too bothered about looking at this quite yet, because he needs to see what's going to happen first, and Khabib would be stupid to look past Poirier. Bellator owner Scott Coker has spoken out on the Ariel Helwani show, announcing the big featherweight Grand Prix that's going to be coming up. We recently just come to the end of the welterweight tournament, which is nearing its end, with Rory and Douglas Lima set to fight in the final later this year. So with the featherweight Grand Prix being announced, there's a lot of fighters that knew about this was coming and were hoping that their names would be on the list. But unlike what happened in the welterweight tournament, there's going to be more fighters this time. It's going to go from 8 to 16 fighters. So that's another one that will last a lot longer. There'll be more fights to see and more opportunities for different fighters to get involved in the competition. So with a list of names that are in the fight, I'll go through quickly. It's Daniel Strauss, Derek Campos, Pat Curran, Adam Borix, Emmanuel Sanchez, Taiwan Claxton, Sam Cilia, Pedro Carvalho, Patricio Pitbull, Juan Arqueta, Darren Caldwell, Henry Corrales, Daniel Wischel, Sol Rogers, AJ McKee and Georgie Karakhanyan. If I've said any of those names wrong, I do apologise straight away now, but we're looking forward to see all those names in, and I actually personally saw one name in particular, Pedro Carvalho. I saw him fight at Bellator Birmingham, put on a great performance, really pushed to get onto this, so I'm really happy he made it on there, because I think he's going to upset a lot of people. And as always, there'll be $1 million prize at the end of it, so there's going to be a lot more than just the title to go for, but what's sweeter than $1 million and the title, and a great career going forward in the Bellator organisation. Last weekend we were given a great UFC card which featured Randamine vs Ladd as the main event. Also we saw the return of the Californian kid Uriah Faber, and the final two fights on this card, as well as a lot of the other ones, were definitely ones not to be blinked. The final two fights probably I don't think even last longer than a minute, maybe just over two, maybe just under two, sorry. And Uriah Faber came out, and within 1 minute of the fight he he came out of his retirement and won the fight within the first round, within the first minute as well. So has Uriah Faber made the right decision to come out of retirement? A lot of fighters tend to stay, once you're retired, you should stay retired after seeing the likes of what's happened to BJ Penn. But Uriah Faber's shown that he is more than capable of hanging in there with the best fighters in the world still at 40 years old. He's still going in there. He was banging. You haven't seen something like that from him in a long time, and it's good to see him come away with such a decisive win over a tough opponent who's up and coming at the moment. So what's next for Uriah Faber? We'll have to wait and see. Will this be a short-lived victory, or will his next couple of fights not prove too well? We'll have to wait and see, but with some of the animals still coming through Team Alpha Male, I'm sure he's getting plenty of practice with new blood coming through, and it'll be interesting to see exactly what happens. And on to the main event. Well, I think you all know what happened there. Randamine caught the undefeated Ladd with a perfect right hand, I think it was right hand, and dropped her immediately. And, she definitely looked like she was very rocked and potentially, unable to continue. A lot of people have come into dispute whether the fight was actually, it was stopped prematurely, and also said about the previous fight, the Faber one as well. But me personally, I find both fights, you got very, very qualified referees in there. They see it from certain angles and they've got to make a split decision. So at the end of the day, if the referee feels like it needs to be stopped, then in their eyes it did. They don't get to see it back 4 or 5 times. But after I'm watching it myself back 4 or 5 times, Rainamin did rock her, knocked her straight down, and she didn't really know where she was. So, split decision thing, but hey ho, lad took it on her shoulders. She's looking back saying, hey, you can't win them all, and I'm sure she'll be back as dominant as ever, and I'm sure a rematch is definitely on the card. This weekend we're going to see a number of fights, but one I'm really looking forward to from the UK. I don't mean to sound biased, but Leon Edwards is taking on Rafael dos Anjos, champion, this weekend in the main event. This is easily Leon's biggest test to date, and if he gets past RDA, it's going to be incredible for his career, and it's only going to lead to bigger and better things. Potentially even a title shot, or I'm sure he'd like to get his hands on Masvidal, especially after what happened backstage in London. Masvidal's coming off a huge win, as we know, against Ben Askren, and Masvidal's agents have come out saying that he's only interested in fighting McGregor or for a title shot. As you know, Masvidal, he's a fighter, but he does want to make money, and he's obviously seeing where the best opportunities lie. But if Leon does win and we don't see any title shot presented or McGregor returning, I personally think it'd be a great fight to watch, and it'll be a great fight to set up the #1 contender. Masvidal won't see it that way at the moment, but we'll have to wait and see what happens at the weekend. RDA will be looking to continue dominating. He want to win this fight against Leon Edwards and stop him in his path, just to go forward and push for a title shot himself. But if Leon's going to do anything like his brother's been doing back in England, Fabian, going through all his opponents and dominating, it'd be fireworks, definitely be flying. I spoke to Fabian not too long ago, and he assured me that there are quite a large number of Team Renegade are out there with Leon getting ready, so the support will be with him from the UK as well as his training partners, and I definitely will be tuning into that one. And the refs have called it. This is Chris Allen with your MMA Power Hour weekly news update. Up next is a fantastic episode of MMA Power Hour with your hosts Colin Crandall and Adam Rauder. Until next time, I'm tapping out.
Roar. Roar. How's it going, Colin?
So you all surprised me. Can you feel the power? And we're roaring here. Dr. Adam Rorta gave me the roar to let me know I am on camera. Otherwise, I'd be sitting here with a deer in the headlights look. Anyway, welcome to the MMA Power Hour. So glad to have all you here with us. We've got a really fun show in store for us. Dr. Adam Rorta has already roared his way in here. Doc, how are you? I know you've had to deal with your ups and downs this week, but you look great as always. What's going on?
Thank you. So actually, I've been telling everybody about my own company that I came in on because I was so impressed with the social media marketing. We actually were down at VidCon this last week, so we actually met up with a bunch of social media influencers and personalities that were on the rise in popularity. Not all of them are just posting pictures. Some of them actually have some interesting skill sets. But
were they dressed in Star Trek outfits?
No.
Okay, continue.
No, the craziest outfit for anybody that we're dealing with is actually she's a circus performer and wants to be go into the kids entertainment realm, and that's kind of cool.
Yeah.
So kind of working with her and seeing what we can do there, but also ran across a couple fighters. That was fun, and they are looking for some representation from our company. So we'll see how this goes. We're super excited.
I like that.
And it actually happened through a partnership that we gained while we were down there. And I also did secure a sponsorship for our show, which is a huge deal, boys and girls. We've got sponsorships here. You see already. We've got some amazing sponsors, but we got a nice big equipment sponsor that we will be able to, just improve the show for you guys. We would not be able to do this without your guys' help. All the likes, comments, and shares. Make sure you're giving us likes, comments, and shares. We will get back to you after the show. If I do not see it, we may see it intermittently, but make sure you're liking, commenting, and sharing. Get the word out so that way people can see what's going on over here at MMA Power Hour. So that way, Colin, you're the main man, the man of the hour, the Power Hour, and this is just super exciting having you here. Thank you for asking me how I am and what's going on in my world.
You're welcome. And it sounds like you're doing some great work for us, and over there at VidCon, that sounds awesome and really exciting. As you all know, we're doing everything we can to keep the quality going. We've made improvements leaps and bounds over the last 2 years and 3 months that we've been on. And you know, we've done some in-person interviews. We're looking to be able to do some more, and to be able to have people come in and sit on the couch. And it looks like it's going to be coming sooner than later. And so, you know, they say you got to crawl before you walk, and walk before you run, and it looks like finally we're at the point that we're going to be running pretty soon. So thank you for all your help, all of you out there, and Dr. Adam Rorta for everything you do, man. Really excited about the future here for our show. So speaking about our show, we have still several minutes before our first guest is set. And so, man, you know, it's funny. I don't know if you guys and girls feel the same thing, but you ever notice how when it's a few days after the weekend's fighting event, we're all so much now thinking about the next event that we can kind of sometimes forget about what we saw in this last week's event. And I think, well, you know what? I think I was there, but now it's starting to come back to me. So I do remember now, Germaine Durandamy, and I remember I think I was leaning toward her the whole time on the show, but I may have ended up just proclaiming to be on the fence as far as betting shortly before, well, not shortly before, when I saw the really, really unfortunate experience and how much in discomfort and pain Aspen Ladd looked at the weigh-in. I said, the bet, I think, is Durandamy. And no one knew, I didn't know it was going to be a wipeout like that, but it looks like basically she got caught by a better, more experienced striker immediately, and was also in a little bit of a weakened, compromised position. Condition. How about that? And I'm glad that she was not hurt worse, and that she was talking, and she's a tough young 24-year-old woman, and she's going to be fine. But yeah, definitely Durandamy looking good. There's some controversy in the stoppage there, and I'm not seeing it. I feel that she fell.
Absolutely not.
Yeah,
I totally see that one 100%.
Yeah.
I mean,
yeah, she fell on all fours. She looked confused and like kind of stunned from there, and then she got hit kind of in the neck, and I think that the trajectory of the punch was thrown off a little bit when Durandamy saw Herb Dean coming in to break things up. And then on top of that, she kind of ended up in a seated position, but it wasn't a seated position with her hands up like this. It was kind of a seated position with her hands down at her sides, and Germaine Durandamy could have wound up and just knocked her block off completely, is my opinion. I'm not the be-all, end-all, final word on everything, but I do feel that was a valid stoppage, and Aspen Ladd was saying, well, it would have been nice had she been allowed to continue, but she has no argument with it. And the reality is, with the fact that she was in a weakened position with less synovial fluid, you know, water in her brain, to take another really hard shot from a 8-time Muay Thai boxing undefeated champion, the Iron Lady, would have been bad. And so I think we're on the same page. That was a valid stoppage, no problem.
Oh yeah, after looking at that weigh-in and just how much trouble she was having standing, I mean, her head was not right.
No, she was just, one day wasn't enough to come back.
It wasn't enough to come back. The ref needed to stop that. For those of you who don't know, Colin kind of talked about it. The fluids in your brain when you start cutting weight also get depleted, and it causes your brain to be able to shift in your head a lot easier. So a lot of brain damage, if it's going to happen in this sport, is probably going to be from the weight cut. Now that's kind of debatable in the science community, but a lot of people are starting to think that has a lot to do with CTE. So you know, a ref stopping it was the way they did, or the way he did, it was very responsible in that case. I don't think it was uncalled for. I mean, he's been getting a lot of grief lately for controversial stops, but in this case, it wasn't controversial at all. No,
exactly. Now, the fight before that, the co-main, Uriah Faber, who I was so excited and happy to see come back, and I had a feeling that he was going to be able to, but still, again, I wouldn't have wanted to tell people to bet on it, I think, because you never know. But that one, a little bit more controversial. There was no problem in the weight making process for Ricky Simon, or Simone, as I hear people call him, or whatever is the right pronunciation. Then I'd like to use that.
Yeah, no real reason there. Definitely a little more controversial.
Yeah, I still think it was okay, but I think it wasn't as clearly okay as Aspen Ladd. I mean, they
Right.
maybe could have let that go a little bit more. But just a really good shot in the beginning, and the way Simone fell, looked like he was definitely hurt, and he's young and he was recovering. But Uriah Faber, even at 40, was always a finisher. The California kid, and he was very motivated. He was fighting in front of his hometown fans, and he was in that kill mode. The bottom line is, I think he could count on one hand how many times he's fought in a major event in Sacramento. And as far as I know, that may have been the only one, or maybe one more. But yeah, he was really focused, and it was great. Now, afterwards, him calling out Henry Cejudo, and now they're having some talks. What I thought was interesting was Uriah made a comment, and he said, 10 years ago, Henry called me out for a fight. And then he said something like, and we had a fun, friendly talk. 10 years ago, when Uriah was at his peak, arguably, and Henry Cejudo had probably zero MMA training, albeit a world-class Olympic wrestler, it probably would have been a crush fight. Uriah Faber, if he would have said, yeah, bring this kid in, it would have been bring this kid in so I can absolutely annihilate him. And so I think Faber is probably saying, I had enough respect for you not to take that and run with it and try to call you out and try to, but now that I'm the old guy, and at 40, 135-pound weight division, unfortunately, Uriah is the old guy. I guess, unfortunately, 40 is the old guy in every division, but the higher the weight class, the less need for speed and reflexes. So you do see guys that are 40 with some regularity fighting at 185 pounds and higher, but not 135 pounds. So Faber's saying, all right, now I'm the old guy, and now I'll give you your chance when you have this big advantage over me, and let's do it. And Cejudo and him are going back and forth. I don't know. Cejudo, actually, now that I remember it, after Cejudo's victory over Marias, he did call out Uriah Faber. He called out Faber, and I forgot who else. A couple of guys, I think either Cody Garbrandt or something. He called off a couple of guys that were either retired or off of several losses, and so I don't know, but I don't know. That's going to be interesting. I don't know that they're going to have any way to justify Uriah Faber off of one win and 3 years of retirement meriting a title shot at either 125 or 135, but it would be fun. Do you think, Doc, that somehow, if not immediately, we will see that? Or do you think, based on the fact that Uriah Faber is probably still unranked even off of that win, beating a guy who himself I think was ranked only 12th or 15th, do you think at 40 years old there's time to make that fight and there's any chance, or virtually none?
No, not really. I mean, as much as I think Uriah is a legend, I don't think he can stand with Cejudo here and do it. He has to prove himself first.
Yeah.
There's not enough time in his career to be able to make that happen.
Yeah, I think so.
I just really don't see it.
It would literally have to be that they let him leapfrog all 10 of the top 10 contenders in either the flyweight or bantamweight.
Well, I mean, it's an exciting fight, and I've seen a lot of that lately from the UFC. So
yeah, conceivable.
It's conceivable, but not really at the same time. I mean, in this case, Uriah, he's just. Listen, he's an older guy at this point. Yeah. He's, 40 years old, and he's starting to get into the point where doctors are going to start saying you can't fight anymore. Any time over the next 10 years, they're probably going to start saying that.
Yeah.
And I don't know. I honestly see it being like a 1-2 year process at least, and I don't see Uriah. No, at least for Uriah to be able to get in there with Cejudo.
He'd have to win like 3 or 4 fights.
Yeah, and I just don't see that happening.
Right. Yeah. If you were a contender...
I mean, it's a good way to go out. Retirement.
Yeah,
He's got it planned, I think.
Yeah. If you were a contender at either of those weight classes and had respect for Uriah Faber being a legend, and then after this question, we should get our next guest on, would you be angry if he leapfrogged you and everyone else and got the shot against Cejudo, or would you feel, man, this guy is such a legend, I'm not going to be that bummed that they let him leapfrog me to fight Cejudo?
Well, if I'm next in line, I would enjoy going in there and whooping the legend.
No, but I mean, what if they told you you're ranked number 3, number 4, they're going to let Uriah leapfrog the entire top 10, and come into the fight soon.
That's what I'm saying. If I were the one that was next in, so it really depends for me. This is a fun question,
right?
Because if I were number one contender,
you would be pissed.
I would probably enjoy that just because it's a legend up next, and the thought there. Now, if I were lower down on the totem, I don't think that would excite me. In fact, I think it would definitely piss me off.
Yeah.
But no, if I were number one contender, I think I would be more than okay with it. I think that would be exciting and thrilling in a lot of ways. We've seen that a lot lately, and I don't know. Me personally, I don't see a huge issue with that if the fight is something that's going to be super exciting, and if the person that's leapfrogging really has been able to show their worth. Now, in this case, a legend such as Uriah, he's proven his worth. Just with this last fight, he did that just by coming back and showing that he's still got it.
Yeah, absolutely. Definitely, and really excited to see that great win for Uriah. And now we are going to work on getting our next guest in here.
We will Skype dance on this one.
Ready for the Skype dance?
Yeah. Boom, boom, boom. Doom, doom, doom. Well, Colin, does he know we're calling him right now?
Yeah, I just talked to him actually about 20 minutes ago, real briefly.
Okay.
This is strange. Let me, whoop, did he pick up?
No, I just hung up. It's saying it's active now, so tell him to call us, actually.
Okay, let me see if I can.
Boop, boop, boop. For those of you tuning in for the first time or that are here and have not watched our Skype scenario, this does actually happen quite a bit. We pull everybody in live. We like to do the Skype dance, have fun with it. There we go. Chris is calling us.
Perfect.
And
Even before I
boom, boom, boom. Here we go.
Hey, Chris, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Cool. Now let's see. We see you. There you are right there. Awesome, man. Hey, let me give you the proper introduction. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm so happy to have this next guest back on the show. We've had him on a few times. We had him as far back as 2 years ago, and he is just getting better and better. I want to say that you got to look out for him, and you got to look him up. He is Chris Breezy and the Future Brown, but if you look on SureDog, you want to look under Christopher Brown on SureDog. And
playing with my stuff.
I know, right? SureDog is messing with you. But yeah, Christopher Brown on SureDog. And Chris, I want to welcome you to the MMA Power Hour. Great to talk to you, my friend. How's everything going?
Doing great. How's it going with you guys?
Doing very well. Well, I wanted to let people know this man has been one of the most feared fighters not fighting in the UFC.
Hello.
I think five out of 5 men have backed out in scheduled fights against him. Now, he's fought other fights as well. Yeah, more than 5. But I think it's almost like 5 in a row.
Yeah, I had 4 canceled this year.
Oh, man.
This last fight was the first time in 10 cities that LFA could match me. Like they've been trying since last summer to match me.
Yeah, and that's crazy.
To sign the contract.
Yeah, and that's crazy because LFA is a big organization. You guys may or may not know Legacy Fighting Alliance, run by Ed Suarez, is shown every event on Access TV, and with the commentators Pat Miletich and Ron Kruk. It's a very, very much connected show to the UFC. With Ed Suarez once having been promotional partners with Mick Maynard, and so very, very frequently an LFA fighter just has to fight maybe 2 or 3 fights, and you see him in the UFC. So LFA has some very, very tough guys, and even in the LFA, no one wanted any part of Chris Brown. So
yeah, the LFA champ done avoided me twice already.
Oh man,
that be known.
Man, that's crazy. And you're fighting at lightweight, and there are always tough guys there. But that's the truth. People are avoiding this man, but nevertheless, someone did step up and fight him, and he did have he did.
I thanked him profusely.
Yep. Absolutely right, because he was the only guy that showed up there, this year out of 4 matched up fights. So yeah, good tough guy he fought. Chris looked impressive. Congratulations on that victory. How did you feel? No problem. How did you feel going into that fight? And let me ask you, with 4 fights out of 4 having your opponents back out this year, when were you certain that this man was going to be there and that this fight would happen?
Whenever I tell anybody about a fight, they're like, yeah, we're not going to believe it till they actually show up to the weigh-ins. But then, you know, you had that Darren Cruikshank happen,
Absolutely.
and, you know, he got scared. He didn't want to fight over 1 pound in his home city, headlining UFC Fight Pass. But so, you know, once he got there, got on the scale, but because I didn't even reach there till Friday morning. Like, I was supposed to get in Wednesday night, didn't. All my flights and everything were canceled to Dallas. Like, an hour and a half flight from Albuquerque to Dallas turned into a 10-hour flight. We
Oh,
got
you're
diverted
kidding.
to San Antonio.
Oh,
Had to sit on the tarmac for 7 hours.
that's
Got
crazy.
left Albuquerque at like 2 o'clock. Got to Dallas at midnight.
That's nuts.
Had my mom come pick me up because she lives in Dallas.
Right.
So spent the night with her, and then we weren't able to get out until 8:30 that night. So I didn't even get to my hotel till 1:40. So it was 1:40 in the morning on Friday, and everybody weighed in Thursday. So my opponent weighed in on Thursday. So I had to get straight to the hotel and went straight to the sauna. Started cutting weight. Made weight at 9 in the morning. Got like 2 hours of sleep. Then I had to get to the stadium early because I had to do all my media stuff that I missed the day before. So got there, did the media stuff, and then took a 2-hour nap on the couch in the locker room. And then me and Greg went and got something to eat, and I came back and went to work.
No, I love it. What an ordeal. So I'm betting that until you stepped into the cage, you probably weren't 100% confident the fight was going to happen, huh?
Like, the dude missed weight a little bit because this, you know, is a catch weight, so you got to be on point. And he had missed weight by a little bit, and he said he was worried that I wasn't going to take the fight. I'm like,
Ha! No, that's not going to happen, right?
I'm taking the fight. I cut weight same day, fought same night, so, you know, I was going to make it happen regardless.
Oh yeah, absolutely. When you got someone who's willing to fight you, for sure. Hey, let me give you a tip. Most of your face is on the camera, but it's cutting off at the top of your head. So if you could bring it up a little bit. So now you want to bring a little bit. There we go. Now it's better. Now it's perfect. Awesome. I appreciate that. So it was a good fight. How did you feel in there? Because with so many people avoiding you, it had been what, 16 months since you had fought?
I hadn't fought since November. So
okay.
Not that long.
Not that long. So about
half of that.
Okay, about 8 months. And so, did you feel rusty at all? And if so, how long did it take to work off the ring rust?
No, I didn't really feel rusty. Just I guess I got warmed up. I didn't want it to go fast. I kind of did want to get in there at least for a round and have some fun a little bit, get loose a little bit. Once I like 2 minutes in, once I got moving around, I was like, I got back to swing of things, especially what I've been working on in the gym. That can't be having any ring rust.
Yep, absolutely. And so you're over there at Jackson Wink, where you've been for several years, and you've trained with John Jones and with Holly and with Diego Sanchez while he was there. I'm sure with Cowboy while he was there. A lot of great people. What did you work on most for this fight, and who was helping you get ready for this fight?
I didn't really work on anything specific. I just was doing what I regularly do. That's how I fight in the gym. This is the first time it's like actually fully translated, you know, getting to show everybody what I actually do and, you know, why people hype me up, because I do these things on the regular. Like, I was taking it easy in that fight. I wasn't really even going too hard. In all honesty, like,
Nice.
there's a whole nother level to what I was doing. Like, I was just, you know, taking my time, wanted to fill it out, wanted to get some cage time since it had been so long. So, you know, I was lighting them up, landing everything that I wanted. You know, was just taking my time, picking my shots. Never any urgency, really. Just try, you know, get back in the field of things, because a real fight is different than, you know, sparring. So I just wanted to get in there because I'm used to always rushing. I get in there and I'm just going because I'm so amped up from not fighting for 6 months. So, you know, this one, you know, with all the fights getting canceled, you know, flying out to Detroit twice to have fights canceled.
Yep.
Went out to Memphis last month, fight was canceled. You know, so I, you know, flying around the country, cutting weight, and still, you know, just driving. Didn't really set me back at all. Just made me just keep going. So I was just building every camp. So, Holly was getting ready for her fight, so we were going hard, constantly. A lot of the other guys that are in the gym right now too.
Sounds good. How about John Jones? That last fight he was in, were you at any point worried for your friend in there, because that was one of the more competitive fights I've seen with John Jones?
He handled it like I thought he would. I knew it was going to be a real cautious fight. You have to be careful because Santos has ridiculous power. It don't take too much for him to put you down. And you could tell in the fight, like when John would try to rush him against the cage and stuff, he'd have to step back real quick once he got in there. He's like, oh yeah, hold on, got to get out of there. I thought he, other than the first round, I thought he was just filling out the first round, and Santos outstriked him in that one. But every other round, John landed the most strikes and controlled the pace, continued to walk him down. So he had octagon control. So I feel that he won every round. They were dangerous rounds. People wanted John to be more dominant. So they're always gonna hate and be like, oh, he should have lost that fight. Like, he didn't do anything enough to beat John and take his belt. So, there's 14 belts this man didn't win. So you got to do a little bit more than that to win, especially, it's unfortunate his knee got hurt the way it did.
Yeah, that was, because I'd love to see that matchup when that guy's knee was good, because that is a tough guy. I was mentioning to several people.
If John would have wrestled him, he would have killed him.
That's the one thing, man. Let me ask you about that. I mean, John.
That's John.
Yeah,
he's gonna beat you at what you do.
Yeah,
he's gonna do what you do, and he's gonna beat you at it.
Yeah. And I think next time he says he will throw in some wrestling. Now,
because I was talking shit when I was watching it, because I'm like, oh, John's always like, whenever he's like watching me do rounds, he's like, man, Chris, you always got to get a takedown in, whenever he's like, yeah, always work a takedown in. I was like, there you go, not working a takedown in. He was like, where's the takedown?
Yeah,
expecting it the whole time. So, but but that's what he does. It's a pride thing. He wants to show that he can do what they do and do it better.
Yeah, absolutely. And I like that there really was no bad blood with this guy. Yeah, it really did. I mean, John, it really seemed like he kind of maybe liked this guy more than he liked a lot of the other guys.
Because he came with it. He was a warrior.
Yeah, he really did. And props to Thiago Santos. He will be back, and
he's a beast.
Another great fight by John. So let's talk about your future, because you are Breezy and the Future, and those are great nicknames. Before that, you were the Houston Madman. Do you still have any of your shirts that say the Houston Madman?
Yeah, I do. I still got them. I still rock them. I got friends. People will be out here rocking them.
That's cool, man. But yeah, you have so much potential. But what kind of assurances do you have that some things are going to go a little smoother in the future? Is Ed Suarez talking about the title fight? What's on the plate, if you wouldn't mind sharing?
No, just got a couple more offers. I know LFA wants me back. The Warrior Wednesdays, they want me back. They see if I was interested in a title fight. I want all the smoke. So, because people are doubting now. They're like, oh well, we want to see him wrestle. We seen his striking. Like, I'm a wrestler. Like, these people don't even pay attention. What's really going on. Because I just showed what my striking has evolved to, and I wasn't even doing anything wild. I wasn't spinning and doing nothing crazy. I was just trying to do just the simple stuff that I do.
Yeah.
So I just showed the world. I showcased to the world that my striking is amazing.
Yep.
But people just don't realize that I'm actually a wrestler, and that's my actual strongest, the strongest feature right there, because it's my oldest one, my fallback. That's why I developed the style that I did, because I can jump around and be airborne and throw all these crazy kicks, because I'm not worried about you taking me down.
Yeah, absolutely, and that's important, and you really are a balanced mixed martial artist. I know that John Jones would be very excited to have you in the UFC, and I would imagine that probably is more of your target than Bellator.
He's been telling me that for a while, for a long time. John's always, been there since my first amateur fight out here.
Yep.
John went to all my fights. We spend a lot of time together outside of the ring. You know, he always tells me he believes in me and things like that. So, you know, spend a lot of time together. So,
Very
you
cool.
know, he knows I can get there and I deserve to be there.
Yeah, I would think it would be pretty soon, man. I almost feel like, you know, like maybe
Not too much sooner, like, especially like, you know, if I can get another fight real quick and, you know, get another highlight reel going because uh, this is my style. You know, I finally was comfortable, you know, to really fully translate what I'm doing. So it validated a lot of what's going on. You know, Wink's showing the things that I'm doing in class, like some of the concepts and things that I do. You know, so this is, you know, just the beginning of what I do. People like, as I said, I really didn't even do nothing wild. Just kind of kept it real simple. Wanted to get in there and feel it. You know, if you look at the video, I'm just super cool and chill.
Yeah.
I was just real super relaxed. You know, no real urgency. I already knew that he watching his videos, he couldn't strike with me.
Right.
I told everybody I was gonna light him up like Christmas in July.
Yep. And you did. And you did. You look super composed in there, man, and definitely like a true veteran. Despite the fact that you've only had like what 6 pro fights.
That was number 5.
Number 5, yeah, exactly. So no, there's just, you know, there's a lot of things that that you can and will accomplish. Let me ask you this: with the fact that you've got a very good record and you come from a good school and you're friends with John Jones and you're impressing the hell out of people, will you be spared of the experience that a lot of UFC fighters experience? Not a lot, but some, where basically like they say, okay, guess what? We want you in the UFC, but in your first fight, you're fighting the number 7 contender on 12 days notice. Is that something that you think?
I'm all about that life.
You would still be down for that?
Oh yeah,
I love
I
it.
Be all about that life. Yeah. Say no, say less. I'm in there.
I love it. Now, would you think though that more than likely you'll be able to avoid that based on your connections and how impressive you've been, or do you think, or are you thinking it's 50-50 that it could go
whatever? It's whatever. Whatever it takes to get there. I'd have been through it all. I'd have sacrificed so much to, you know, to be here, to develop, you know, and progress the way that I have, you know.
Yep.
Any opportunity, I'm ready for it.
Makes sense. It's true, because they say opportunities don't come that often, and you know, by all these guys bailing out on you, and then when
you know, look what happens. I got on national television, haven't fought in forever, and I made it worth it.
Yep.
You know, I didn't end it too fast. I got to, like, you know, show off a little bit of my skill set. You know, if people pay attention, I did show you know, my takedown defense and a little bit of my kicks. So I definitely think I put on a show to, you know, have people like, damn, who do you see fighting like that?
Yeah, no, absolutely. And you were the King of the Cage welterweight champion in a very good amateur career, and you've been fighting pro at lightweight. Are you liking lightweight? Are you thinking that's going to be your home for a good while, or do you have flexibility?
I have a nutritionist, so it's easy to get down there. It's not too hard. You know, eventually I'll go up, but right now, while I can do it, I might as well go down to 55.
Yeah, that makes sense.
That's where Wink wants me at. So as long as I'm willing and able to do it, it's like, yeah, I'll definitely get down there. Because, you know, it makes me work harder.
Yeah.
I have to, you know, put a lot more into it. So, you know, I'm all about grinding and working. So, you know, it fits.
Absolutely. Did you take much
competition?
Yeah, absolutely. I know that about you. Did you take much damage in the fight or in your training camp, or are you feeling pretty good?
No, he hit me with a low blow a little bit that I just waved off, and, you know, kept fighting, but guys kind of swelled me up a little bit. But other than that, perfectly fine.
And there was no athletic suspension of any period of time for you, right?
Oh no, I'm good to go. You know, LFA was trying to get me to fight on like the August 2nd or something, like in like 17 days, but they didn't want to let me do a catch weight, so that was too low to get down there. 255.
Yeah, that makes sense.
My manager calls me. He's like, "Hey, we fight in 2 weeks." So I'm like, "What weight class?"
Yeah,
I was like, I'll fight at 160.
Yeah, not
55. They just made me fight at 160 for that dude.
Yeah.
So I was like, yeah, if they give me 160, yeah, I'll do it because I'm healthy.
Yeah.
I'll start sparring tomorrow.
Yeah. So they wouldn't do it.
and they're like, oh, they didn't want me to do 55. They wanted me to do 55, so everybody, Greg and my nutritionist said no.
I
So I was
agree.
like, yeah.
Yeah.
Because he calls me, I'm like, I'm 184 right now. Like,
Yeah. You're not going to go with 55.
This is a process. Like, I get down to 55, but it's a process.
Yeah, without a doubt. And you got to be smart. You don't want to kill yourself almost to get in there. It makes sense. But yeah, but I have a feeling you will be in action definitely before this year is out.
I'm trying to fight 2 or 3 more times.
Nice. That would be
because I'm definitely in demand now after showing off like that.
Yeah.
So I definitely trying to reel off a couple more highlights that UFC can't deny me.
Absolutely.
Anymore.
Absolutely. Who is the LFA the lightweight champion right now?
Harvey Park, the same dude I was supposed to make my pro debut against. They stopped that fight even after we had the press conference. Like 2 weeks out, they tried to say some nonsense about the commission didn't want me to fight him, and then it became something, a whole other stuff where they were trying to like basically save him, talking about they want to build both of us up. Some nonsense. We even, because we were supposed to fight, and he ended up fighting one of our teammates, and I was on the side. He was losing and then ended up winning. And, I was on the side of the cage, telling him he sucks. And he was like he was talking shit back to me through the cage. So he was like, oh, come in here. I was like, bet. So, I got 2 beers in my hand, and I run up to the stage, to the cage. And the promoter was like, no,
Yeah.
Lenny Faircast, Holly's manager. He was like, Chris, like, you can't do anything crazy. I was like, nah, we're good. I was like, I'm gonna sell some tickets. He's like, all right, you can't come in here with your beer. So my teammate, I was like, hold my beers.
I love that.
And I jumped in the cage. And, I ran up on Harvey. And, we were like doing our back-to-back exchanges. I got pictures of the stuff.
Nice.
Like,
and that was what, 3-4
years talking about? Oh, you need to make weight and this and that. I was like, I hit him with because his nickname used to be Last Dragon.
Interesting.
So I was trying to get the fight. So I said, boy, Last Dragon, this your last win if you fight me.
I like it. What was that, about 2-3 years ago?
Yeah, this is right after my pro debut. So this was two years ago.
Nice.
Because I was supposed to make my debut against him, but I fought a guy that he fought. That it took him 3 rounds to beat. I dropped him in a minute and a half.
Nice. That's impressive.
And, and then LFA came to Albuquerque.
Wow.
And they offered to fight with Harvey here in Albuquerque. You know how like we were sold out. They brought some dude. Harvey did not want to fight. They turned down the fight. They did not want to fight me.
Right. They
brought in some other dude.
Yeah. So what about now? Do you think that Harvey's going to keep on avoiding you, and that's just not going to happen, or is there any chance I
want it.
Yeah,
so especially after I put on a performance like that, why not?
Yeah, without a doubt.
What else is going on over there?
Without a doubt. And let me ask you, a lot of people
it's a grudge match. We got beef. Like, we can pull up some stuff.
That's right. You can squash it.
We got legitimate beef. I've been trying to fight this dude.
I like that. Well, that would be exciting. Let me ask you this. I would imagine that either LFA or UFC is what you would want. Is there any talk or consideration if Bellator were to jump in and try to grab you?
Right. We've gone back and forth with Bellator. All the thing is, I just if I do it, I'm down to do it. I just want to fight. I want to be active. I'm not sitting longer than 3 or 4 months. Like I want to fight every 3-4 months.
Yeah,
like,
that makes
I need
sense.
to fight. Like I'm not trying to sit around. I'm not doing none of that. I'm trying to fight 5-6 times a year.
Makes sense. Any talk with One Championship or Ryzen or anything?
I haven't talked to them yet, but I definitely would love to do it. I was supposed Darren Cruikshank fights for Ryzen, and I scared him off.
Yep.
So I'll definitely. He was running around lying, talking about, I was 7 pounds over, and him and his coaches running around lying. Like the official weigh-ins say I was 1 pound over.
Right.
So you can't say any other nonsense you want to say.
No.
Yeah, I was a little bit over when I showed up, but I called the promoter and he said you got 2 hours to cut.
Yeah.
I show up and they were complaining the whole time. So I only got an hour and a half. Came back, I was 1 pound over, and they made a whole big old scene, crying and bitching about, oh, this is unprofessional and this is bullshit and this and that. And I'm like, man, you missed weight in the UFC. What are you talking about?
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
Stop playing games. Like,
yeah.
You know, he wasn't even talking. He was running around in his little hoodie, being quiet. Like his wife and his coach was running around talking about crap.
Yeah.
So I'm like, and then was like, oh, I'll only fight you if you come back tomorrow at 160. So Wink was like, that's dumb. Like, don't do it. And you know what? I was like, I told the promoter, I was like, nah, fuck that. I'm showing up at 160 tomorrow, and I'm gonna whoop his ass.
Yeah.
I showed up at 5'10" and got on the scale and weighed 160.
Nice.
I went and me and Wink cut weight again. I rehydrated that night, and I cut another 8 pounds on Saturday before the fight. Cut weight, went over there, got on the scale. And then he shook the promoter's hand. He goes and gets Darren. Darren comes back and sees me on the scale. His eyes get big, and he's like, "Oh, I'm not fighting. I got rid of that deal a long time ago. I'm not doing that. You can wait. I'll watch you weigh in, but I'm not gonna fight." So I'm like, "Are you serious?"
That's terrible.
Like everybody's like, "Oh, he brought his fight bag. His fight bag's over there with his team." Like he's like, "Oh no." Like everybody in the back was like, "What's going on?" Like,
that's unfortunate.
Are you serious? Like, so I went on a rant, like he's all kinds of bitches and hoes. Like, I was being cool the first night because I wanted to make the fight happen.
Yep.
And then after that, I wouldn't hold my tongue no more. So he was all kinds of. I called them all out his name.
Yeah, I don't blame him. Man. That's really unfortunate.
Yeah.
Because you were willing to take a fight. Because I think they set that fight up with like 10 days notice, and you were willing to face a former UFC fighter who was still doing well on short notice, and so you really stepped up, and then in the end he didn't. It's unfortunate. So so I'm from Michigan.
Tiny.
Yeah.
He's looking super tiny. He didn't look like he looked like when he fights in Japan. That's for sure.
I bet. Yeah, a little different rule set. Yeah.
Now
what?
Very different rule set, right?
Yeah. Now I'm from Michigan. What can you say is that you would want to share? What can you do for 2 days stuck in Detroit? Were you able to have any fun or nothing? Right? That sucks.
I didn't do nothing.
It's not. Tell everyone though. It's not as bad over there as the reputation says. Don't you think? I mean, did you see the city? It's not as bad as people say. I'd like to get some love for Detroit. Would you agree or would you not agree?
I think it's a very beautiful place.
Yeah.
I thought it was cool. You know, it looked real good. I like, you know, with geese, which I got geese out there.
Yep. Fresh air, blue skies.
I'm over here on Snapchat. Look at these big ass ducks.
Yeah.
I'm like, Chris, those are geese.
Yeah, no, they do. They have a lot of geese over there. It's beautiful countryside though. Blue skies, fresh air, a lot of green, a lot of trees. Yeah, so it's pretty cool.
Yeah, it was cool. I was like, I would have liked it a lot better if I would have actually got to fight.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know,
absolutely.
The 3 times I was supposed to fight out there, they don't want to fight out there.
Yeah, what can you do? Yeah, they don't want any of that smoke, right?
You know, yeah, exactly. The first guy I was supposed to fight was this dude named Austin Tweedy. He was on the Contender Series last year, and we were supposed to fight in January. It was like January, February. We were supposed to fight, and then, but I guess they gave him options. Is what I was just told, that he got options, and you know, Breezy definitely wasn't the option to fight.
Right.
So now they're saying that maybe him and me fight next month for the belt at the end of August. So, you know, I'm definitely interested in that. We'll see. Yeah. Because, you know, and now they'll show them right there because he's a wrestler and he, you know, he thinks he's going to want to wrestle. So that'll show these people that, you know, I definitely don't have a wrestling deficiency.
I like it. Exactly, man. And thinking of this old school cartoon, probably only people over 40 remember this, but they had the old cartoon. You might see in the Cartoon Network, Tweety was the bird and Sylvester was the cat, right? So if you fight Tweety, you'd have to be the cat that ends up tearing apart the Tweety.
I'm my Sylvester Stallone on.
I love it. You'll do that, man. That would be awesome. I look forward to that. Well, hopefully either Tweety or Harvey steps up. Some of these guys.
Oh yeah, because you know that's right. Because I was like, especially if it works out that way, you know, I'll beat up Tweety first, and then once I get that belt, and be like, hey, let's do champ versus champ with LFA and take his belt too.
I like that. Well, I'd love to see that. Well, I tell you, so much good things going on with you, and we're going to come back to a few more questions I have for you. But at this moment, you have been kind enough to jump into our pros pick segment. I know that our producer is not able to switch the camera to show that great graphic for pros pick. He should be back here any minute, but we're going to jump into it in the meantime because, after all, people are not here for the graphics. They want to see what Chris Brown feels about some fights. So, Chris, let me grab my book here because I can't memorize every fight. And so let me grab this. And I had a friend say, at least don't put the thing on camera. Don't put the book on camera. So I'm going to hold the book down here. But I'm admitting I can't remember every single fight matchup. But, okay, let's jump into this weekend's fights. Chris, what's your opinion on Alex Caceres, who they call Bruce Leroy, going up against Stephen Ocho Peterson, fighting out of Fortis MMA? Are you familiar with those guys enough?
A little bit. I've watched a lot of Bruce Leroy. Not too much of the other guy, but I think that I'm gonna go with the other guy.
Yeah, he's a tough guy. Team Fortis MMA, we have a great relationship with, just like we do with Jackson Wink. They have a lot of great people, and Stephen Peterson's a very tough guy. So I think so too. Alex Caceres is such a cool dude, though. I mean, I hated when he got smoked like that by Crone Gracie. In fact, let me ask you this.
Yeah.
That's your division, right? Now I know they wouldn't.
Is that 55?
That is 55.
Oh, okay.
Is it, or is it 45?
I thought he was a 45.
You know what? That might be 45. I'm sorry.
Yeah, that 40. Yeah, because he fought Yair.
That's right. I'm sorry, 45. Yeah, so forget that. Yeah. Forget that. But he's a tough guy. Okay, next up, how about the big men? And this is actually a rematch of 10 or 11 years ago. Former teammate of yours, Andrei Arlovsky, who I know you guys all still have a great rapport with. He didn't leave under any bad circumstances.
Yeah. It's always love for Andre. It's my all-time favorite heavyweight.
He's amazing. And he's fighting a man who he fought in either 2008 or 2009 at one of the two Affliction promotion fights, and I went to both of them in the Honda Center. So this was either Affliction Band or Affliction Day of Reckoning, both cards that Fedor had highlighted. In fact, you know what? I know what it was. Because he fought Fedor in the second one. Yeah.
Oh, yeah, I was all upset because when he jumped in the air and got I was like, no,
yeah, I know. He was winning. He was Freddie Roaching him with all the hands. And then he said, tell me, it must have been this. He must have said, I'm picking Fedor apart, and he must have said, I'm young, I'm in my prime, let me just finish off this bad boy, right? Yeah, he said, let me just finish off this bad boy with a highlight,
I was like, oh my God.
Jumped in the air.
Yeah, because I was so hyped, and then he jumped, and I just was freaking out. I was like,
no. But yeah, so that one was Affliction Day of Reckoning. But in the fight before that, several months before that, he did fight Big Ben Rothwell in Affliction Band. And I know that he was too much for Rothwell. He did win that fight, and he was favored. Now, I believe he is a little bit older than Rothwell. Not that much, but I think Andre's got to be, 41 or something like that, 40, 41.
Yeah,
I think,
like that.
Yeah, I think Rothwell's like 37, 38, so not a big difference. But they have Andre the underdog here. I know he's a former partner here, but I know you want him to win. I know you're going to predict he wins. Can you give us maybe a minute breakdown though on what are some of the interesting factors that fans maybe might like to know?
I still think Andre's the better striker.
Yeah,
between the two, definitely think he's a better striker. I've been watching his videos. We're friends on Instagram and stuff, so I'll be paying attention. He's over there working.
Yep.
Looking good, looking real. He's in shape. He's up at 4 or 5 in the morning running.
Beautiful.
So if other dude ain't putting in that work, he's gonna lose bad.
Yeah.
Because Andre's still got power.
He does.
And he's working hard.
He does. I'm going to cheer for him. I remember an early fight. I don't know if you remember the trilogy that Andre had with former UFC champion Tim Sylvia. And for those, for those that don't know, Andre was also a former UFC champion. I remember the matchup that he beat Sylvia, I think, with a heel hook or a knee bar. I forget what it was, but it was a leg submission. And I remember they
used to watch those videos.
Yeah,
I was Andre. I'd say I was an Andre fan back in the
way back before you trained with him, right? And,
yeah, with the fangs in the hair.
yeah. My girlfriend loved him back then too. Yeah.
That was my dude.
And I remember that Tim Sylvia said the reason why he went to the ground with Andre was he didn't think Andre really knew anything about or was a threat with any leg locks. And I said, not only that, but I said to myself, right, which Russian fighters don't know leg locks? Right?
Yeah, it was like, where do you think this man is from?
Yeah, right. I just
know what side of the world he comes from.
That's it. They know Sambo. They train Sambo over there. You know,
like, he didn't hurt me before. Like we were rolling with his big ass.
Yeah, he's definitely
got my leg caught up under him.
Yep. He knows it. He definitely knows. So that would be interesting. Do you think there's any chance we might see any of that with Rothwell, or do you think Andre would prefer to just pick him apart if he can?
I believe, I think he's just going to go in there and put hands on him.
Yeah, that would be great. That would be good. I'd love to see it.
And moving. I know he's been working on a lot of stuff, so I'm expecting him to, he might even try to hit that flying knee. He's been working on this flying knee, so I want to see that.
That would be amazing. That would be fantastic. I'd love to see it too. All right, next one up. How about your division? And this is your division, unless I'm wrong, unless this is 70. I think it's 55. Remember Alex Hernandez, the guy that Cowboy beat about a year ago? Was that at 55 or 70? Do you remember?
55, because I think...
Yeah, Hernandez at 55.
He went when Cowboy went back down to 55 or something.
That's right. That was when he came back down and started doing well. So we got Alex Hernandez against Francisco Trinaldo. This is your division. Trinaldo, the veteran from Brazil, probably getting close to 40 years old himself, maybe. And Hernandez is in his 20s. Interesting fight. What's your thought? Give me maybe 30 seconds, 45 seconds as far as how you see that one playing out, and then a prediction if you have it.
I'll probably give the edge to Hernandez, but I wouldn't put out,
Trinaldo,
because the homie's a vet, so you never know. He might try to pull something sneaky, get a submission, take it to the ground or something.
Yeah.
But if he stands with him, I think it's not going to be good.
No. Yeah, I think you're right. I think that may be Hernandez. Here's another one, and this one I think is just one division above yours. James Vick, another Texan like yourself.
So it's Vic. I think he's a 55er.
Is he? Okay, good. There we go. So then James.
He fought Gaethje, huh? That's
right. I think so. You're right. He is 55. What a lanky, lean.
He's from Dallas. Yeah.
You know him. He's on your radar. So James Vick is going up against Dan the Hangman Hooker.
Dan Hooker's still going, huh?
Yeah, he is. What do you think? Those are a couple of lanky guys there. How do you see that one? How do you see that one going?
Vic's the ranked guy, so he better come out and he got a rebound because was the last fight when he went to sleep.
You know what? I think he may have had one since then, but I could be wrong. But he is the Texecutioner, isn't he?
Yeah. So he better because where's the fights at?
This is
in San Antonio, right?
I think it is. That's right. This Saturday. You're right, in Texas.
Yeah, so if he's the Texecutioner, you got to go put on for Texas.
Yep.
Got to do it. With the win.
Now, and that should be a competitive fight, though, because Hooker's a tough guy.
Yeah, it's going to definitely be a competitive fight. That's what I say. But, he's the younger guy, and he's supposedly, he's the higher-ranked guy. So, if he goes and does what he's supposed to do, I don't know. But, you better go out and, he wants to rise back up the ranks. I know he does. So, you got to do something.
Absolutely. Now, would you, when it comes down to it, would you like to avoid fighting other fighters from Texas, or would you be just as happy to fight someone from like James Vick as anyone else?
Anybody can get to smoke.
Nice. I like it. And James Vick might be an opponent of yours down the line. It would be interesting to see.
I've been watching, I used to live in Dallas. My mom lives in Dallas. I pay attention to what's going on in Texas. That's a fight I would definitely take.
Yeah, I would like to see that.
I don't see any problems there at all.
Nope. Okay, I appreciate that. I know you do well and take home the W there, hopefully down the line. Okay, 3 fights left.
He don't handle pressure good.
No, that is true. That is very true. 3 fights left. A man who's been on our show a couple times. You may not have heard of him. A big man they call the Kraken. Juan Adams.
Yeah, Juan Adams.
He's a big guy. He's 6'5", and he cuts down from about 300 pounds or close to it. They're putting him up against a man most people hate in Greg Hardy.
Yeah.
And I'm biased on this one, man. Juan is a really nice guy. He's got a great sense of humor.
Yeah, I think Juan's gonna tear him up.
I think so too. How does it play out though?
And to show him what this life is really about. But Greg Carter, he throws hard punches, but he definitely is the less skilled of the two. So I'm expecting Juan to go out there and work him.
I think so too. How do you think that fight's going to unfold? Can you tell the fans watching the show here a couple of things maybe that we should look out for in that fight that maybe you as a fighter would know when these two big men are jumping in there? What do you think we should be looking for?
We're gonna see I want to see probably Juan's going test out the hands, see what his hands doing if he lands something. But I know he probably don't want to put his body on him, wrestle him, because I know Greg Hardy ain't got no wrestling.
Right. So that could definitely happen.
So if you smart, the smart thing, like since he's a heavyweight, you don't want to just be taking no unnecessary punches.
Yeah.
Close that distance and put him on the ground and ground and pound him.
Absolutely.
That's what I do.
Absolutely. Adam, can you switch this to the pros pick segment? We're doing a great pros pick with Chris. Chris, can I ask you, why do you think a lot of people, like in boxing, if there was a guy like Greg Hardy, they'd be feeding him tomato cans, fight after fight, right?
Because and that's what MMA's becoming.
Yeah, it has been, but then in this case, not. But Greg Hardy, why do you think they pick a dangerous guy like Juan Adams? Are they just basically?
Yeah, they feeding him now. Like it's like you sink or swim. You sink or swim time.
Is that pretty much what it is? They're like saying we got to see you do something.
It's sink or swim time because you're like, hey, so you gonna really compete, or you just gonna be here for the sideshow?
Yeah. Exactly. Absolutely. Hey, let me ask my producer one thing, Adam. In this, it looks like I'm sitting so low on the screen here with Chris that you can only see my head. If you can bring me up a little bit there, perfect.
Now you the one cut off here.
Yeah, exactly. Now my head's cut off. I love it. I appreciate it. All right, Chris, appreciate that. Juan Adams, I'm hoping so too. Hoping he's going to knock Greg Hardy into next week, and I think he will. 2 fights left. 2 more big men. Walt Harris against Alexei Olenek. And I'm thinking Olenek might be the guy that keeps on beating people with Ezekiel chokes. I know there's him. There's a few guys with an O from the Eastern Bloc.
Yeah.
Omianchuk.
Yeah, if it's the O dude, I'm thinking about. I'm rolling with him.
Yeah. Well, Walt Harris though, the big ticket, I think they call him or something. He's a really tough guy. Are you familiar with him? Have you seen Walt Harris?
Yeah, I see. Yeah. As I say, if the fight stays standing, Walt has the advantage, but I think the Russian or European, whatever he is going to try to get that fight to the ground.
Yeah, and if he does, problem for the big ticket, unless he's on top.
Big ticket. Yeah, that's what I say. He better have been training the hell out of his takedown defense. Cause if he can keep it standing, I think he gets a knockout. But if that fight goes to the ground, he's going to be in trouble.
Yeah, not only that, but I think I saw this Olenek submit a guy with an Ezekiel choke from his own guard. The guy was on top.
I was gonna say that boy's nasty on the ground.
Yeah, very slick. Doesn't matter where he's in.
If it gets, he got to keep his distance and stay away from that boy, because if he gets some locks on him, he's gonna be in trouble.
Absolutely. Final fight, and I'm really anxious to get a breakdown from you on this, because this is one division above you, but one of the men had fought in your division. We're talking about the main event for this card this Saturday. The former UFC lightweight champ RDA, Rafael dos Anjos, going against the man from England, Leon Edwards, at welterweight. Give me a breakdown on this fight. What are some of the key factors you think will make a big difference in this fight, and what do you see both men trying to do? And then at the end of that, maybe give me your thoughts on how it ends up going, and a prediction if you have one.
This is gonna be a close fight, I think, because this one, like, they're striking. I think their striking is like about the same. Well, just depends on which RDA shows up. Because sometimes his striking looks real crisp. Sometimes he's not. I think Leon was probably gonna try to get that wrestling in. That's what I would do. Kind of close that distance, make it a dirty fight.
Yeah, the wrestling of RDA, I think, should come in handy. And this other guy's taller than him. Sometimes that makes it even better, though, for a wrestler to get under, right, when you got those long legs. And it seems like a lot of these guys from England, they don't have that experience with the wrestling that we have here.
That is true, yeah.
Yeah, but can we take anything from from Leon Edwards' match with Gunnar Nelson? Because Gunnar Nelson was a really good grappler, not necessarily a wrestler though, and Edwards was kind of able to shut him out. But the difference, I think, is that while Gunnar Nelson is a good grappler, he's not really a great wrestler, and he also likes to strike with that Conor McGregor stance because that's his training partner. So I have a feeling that just because Leon Edwards ended up, I think, stopping Gunnar Nelson doesn't mean that it's going to go that way, because I think RDA is decidedly different.
RDA is tough, yeah. So I'm like, yeah, especially his takedowns are good.
Yeah.
So Edwards is gonna have to try to play keep away.
Yeah.
Because you're right, they don't have no wrestling over there really.
Yeah. No, it's gonna be it's gonna be a stiff test for RDA, and I think he can do it. He may be a little bit older, have a little bit more miles on him.
He's gonna have to eat some shots, like I assume, to get in there, just to get close enough to get those takedowns. So Edwards is just gonna have to play like a real close, dirty game, because or be able to keep away.
Yeah, absolutely. No, we got about 5 minutes left with you, Chris. In the last 5 minutes, we'll get back to you in a minute, but I got to ask your opinion. How excited were you to see that crazy result with Masvidal against Ben Askren, right? And I know you didn't have any dog in that fight, so to speak.
No, I enjoyed it. I was like, yeah, because, Ben Askren, he runs his mouth. He talks a lot of weak shit.
Yeah. He's kind of.
He think he real funny, and Masvidal is like a savage,
Yeah.
He's a real street dude, so there's certain people you talk to, certain ways, and that's not one of those people you want to really talk to, because he's gonna come back with something like. Yep. He's one of those dudes gonna be lurking, waiting for you to make a mistake, and it made the most sense for him to rush him like that, because Askren's just gonna just try to grab you. Yeah. So it was the perfect game plan, and it was beautiful. Like my best friend Trey called me at like 6 a.m. when I was coming back from the sauna to the hotel room when I was cutting weight. And he was like, man, I saw that knee. And he's like, yeah, that was beautiful. He's like, man, you need to get a signature knockout like that. And when I threw the knee in the fight, when I jumped over the guy, like when I seen him, when I kicked him, he was standing there. I was like, ooh, I can land a knee right here. I was like, let me get this knee. Like, that's what flashed in my head. Nice. And then I ended up jumping right over him.
I love it. Do you think we'll be seeing a lot more flying knees? I would imagine we would be, huh?
Yeah, I throw all kinds of stuff. So I didn't do too much in this fight.
Right. What do you think of Masvidal's chances against either Colby Covington or Kamaru Usman?
I think he beats Covington, and the Usman fight will be a real good fight. I think that'll be a real competitive fight.
Yeah, and I think those guys are going to be aware of that possibility of that knee coming, huh?
Oh yeah, they got to.
Yeah, makes sense. The knee up the middle, man, it's been around for a while. The wrestlers got to kind of be careful with that.
They got to be real careful about that.
Absolutely. I like he kind of faked him out, though. He walked to the side first.
Yeah, set it up. Yeah, he set it up nice.
Yep, he really did. Because if he would have just run at him, Askren would have seen it. But the fact that he started circling made Askren think, all right, this guy's going to make me come at him.
And what's he doing?
Yep, and then he started to shoot.
Took off his edge a little bit. He's like, oh,
yes,
he's not just gonna rush me. So what's he gonna? Oh, he really is rushing me.
Yes, and that had to be something that probably John Jones would have liked, because he's such a creator in there, just like you are. But that sort of thinking, the mental game, the deception, the bait and switch in there is probably something that I think is a really good sign of a really good fighter, and one that's thinking. And I think that we should be seeing more of that. And Masvidal definitely is a tough guy. What did he serve him? A 1 piece and a soda? Or something like that.
Piece of the soda, yeah.
Yeah, I gotta love that.
Leon Edwards, I was like, boy, that's what I'm saying. Like, Ben Askren got the cage version of what Edwards got, because he ran up on Edwards and pieced him up. Yep. And then, because Edwards was running his mouth about him, I was like, there's certain people you don't talk bad about, because when they see you, you really gonna have a problem. Like,
Yep. He gave Edwards the 3-piece in a soda, I think, over there in England or wherever
exactly.
they. Makes sense. Well, I'll tell you what.
You got to be careful what you say about people, because
Yeah.
when you really see them, they gonna see what's up. Like that's how people live.
Without a doubt, it's really true. Askren seems to be taking it well. Do you think we're going to see Askren back, or do you think that may be the end of Askren?
I know I seen something online saying that he was gonna come. His coach saying he was gonna come back stronger, more focused. But he's gonna come back. He's still There's still a bunch of people he can out hump.
Yep, without a doubt. The funny, what do you call it? Speaking of those,
and now he's gonna be super cautious about people running at him. So
yep, without a doubt, he may never get caught with that again. Last quick question: Dustin Poirier, does he have a chance against Khabib, or do you think that's a fight where Khabib goes in there and mauls him like he's saying he's gonna do to everybody, which he has done to everybody?
Right.
And that's your division. They could be opponents of yours.
I don't think Poirier's wrestling is that good, so he's not known for wrestling.
Yeah. If he touches him, though, if he touches Khabib, he may be one of the harder hitters. He's probably the hardest puncher that Khabib has fought, perhaps. Would you think?
Didn't Conor beat him?
Conor did beat Poirier. He caught him. But as far as someone coming at Khabib, I think Khabib has fought Conor, but Conor's more of a precise puncher, but I think Poirier may be a harder puncher.
Just a harder all-around puncher.
Yeah. I mean, it's like Khabib likes to bull rush some people. You notice that? He'll run at people with his head way up in the air. And I'm thinking...
Yeah, he's definitely hittable, for sure. So, of course he has a puncher's chance, but he's gonna have to land a lot of shots, because I know Khabib's still tough.
Yeah, he is.
So he ain't going down by just any old punch. You're gonna have to really get him.
Without a doubt. And these could be opponents of yours down the line. Could you see yourself fighting Khabib a couple years from now?
Oh yeah.
That'd be awesome.
For him too.
I love it. I know you do. Well, in the last minute we have with you here, Chris, I'm so excited to see you finally having someone standing up and fighting you, and you looking great, as I knew you would, as you always do. I know that you're going to have another fight scheduled soon. I can't wait to see it, whether it's in the LFA or another promotion or the UFC. I know you will be UFC bound soon to fight side by side. Yep, you'll be fighting side by side with your friend John Bones Jones.
Yeah, I can't wait till we on the same card. That's gonna be so live.
It really is, man. I can't wait for it too. That'll be exciting. Me,
him, and Holly. Her, and Holly.
That would be awesome.
Car with Diego too.
That would be awesome, man. If they could get all you on there, man.
Well,
I can't
I fought
wait
on the car with Diego.
Yeah. Did you? That's cool, man. Well, I know they would be really happy to see you there from Jackson Wink, and you really deserve it. You paid your dues, and you're an amazing fighter. In the last minute we have from you, let people know where they can find you on social media and support you.
Yeah, check me out, Chris Breezy MMA on Instagram, Twitter, and Snapchat. I'm on Facebook, Chris Breezy Brown. I'm easy to find. I'm always connecting, always chatting with people. I respond to messages. I'm real interactive with my fans. So, check me out.
Absolutely. Ladies and gentlemen, this is a really, really nice guy. I've known him for a couple years now, and he's a really deserving person, and he will be getting to tremendous heights and more title belts around his waist. So check him out. You'll be glad you support him, and he's a genuinely nice guy and an amazing fighter and a gentleman. Chris Brown, so happy to have you back on the MMA Power Hour. Thank you so much.
Thanks for always showing love and support and having me on, man.
My pleasure. It's
Since
always
the beginning, we've been rolling.
Yeah, we have, man. We're going to keep on rolling together, man. So you keep up the great work. Let me know when you have a fight scheduled, man. We'll get you back on to talk about it.
Yes, sir. Definitely will have you first to know.
Much appreciated. You have a great night, Chris.
All right, you too.
Thanks. Bye-bye. And that was Chris Brown on Sherdog, Christopher Brown. This is Breezy and the Future is his nickname. Amazing fighter, good friend of John Jones. And Jones is always talking this man up, and he proves it when he fights. So really excited to see Chris fighting either for the LFA championship, Dr. Adam Rorta, or for the UFC. I really think those are the places that he's going to be looking at. Obviously, if Bellator or ONE FC jumps in talking about some good money, the man has to eat, and his management want to get him fight, so he's admitting he's not turning anything down. But I really think that either getting him the title fight in the LFA or one other high-profile fight there, and then into the UFC. Jackson Wink has paid their dues. They've got so many great champions in history, and I think that they've earned the chance to get some of their upcoming fighters into the UFC. John Jones speaks super highly of this man. He belongs in the UFC, and I think that will be his home soon, don't you?
Absolutely. Yeah. Absolutely, 100% agree. I think he's just going to be getting an offer here for the UFC any day.
This year, I would think.
Yeah, any day.
Yeah.
I see it coming in the next very short little while.
Yeah.
I want to make sure I have the guest information here
Pretty
correct.
Close. One weight lower than that, welterweight.
All right.
Yep, no problem. Yeah, Chris Brown is an amazing fighter. And, here's the one thing that I would like for him. I would like him to get a fight not where they're giving him 12 days notice against a top 10 contender, but you saw what he said. He'll take it. He's down for it. He's not turning down fights. He's not afraid of anyone. He's not walking away from anyone. So many people have walked away from fights with him that he said, I'm down. He even has
why would he when everybody else is doing it out of fear?
Right.
I mean, let's be real. Everybody that's been watching his career, and we've got a good handful of us that have really been watching him closely in our own little circle. Everybody knows that he's the guy that nobody will take a match with. Just they won't out of pure fear.
Yeah,
they know that their career is not going to go anywhere by getting in that ring or cage with him. Yeah, it just doesn't make sense for them to do it.
Yeah.
I have to disagree with that mentality, but hey, he is one tough mother trucker.
Yes.
He really is.
Absolutely, well stated.
Colin was getting nervous.
Right.
It's like no. But, so everybody, I want to go ahead and say thank you so much for tuning in. Make sure to give us a like, a comment, and a share. We could use all the shares in the world. Also, make sure to go on over to warfighterhemp.com where you can get some awesome CBD products, some of the most pure products on the market. So if you want THC-free stuff, they do have it. No metal impurities, anything like that. They are very high quality. Now also make sure to go on over, you see it at the bottom of the screen, crosstrainmmafighter.com. You can get an awesome t-shirt there. We will have the MMA Power Hour t-shirts posted up there here shortly, and we'll have we'll try to get it figured out as far as how we're going to do this, Colin. We might be able to get something figured out for on order t-shirts.
Yeah.
So that they're printed as you guys go ahead and get them. But we've also been giving a lot out, and I think right now we're going to switch it over to selling them over there on crosstrainmmafighter.com. And crosstrainmmafighter.com does have some awesome apparel of their own. So
absolutely.
Check that out. Now also, Combat Press, I have to shout them out. They're always feeding us such amazing news over on our social media. If it was not for them, we would not have a consistent news stream. They are seriously your go-to source for all combat sports related news. It's all there, zero fluff, amazing stories, and
great place.
Go on combatpress.com where every fight has a story. Rob Tatum over there is a great friend of the show, and couldn't speak any more highly of him.
Absolutely.
Okay, so everybody, thank you so much. Get on those likes, comments, and shares. Real quick, Colin, before we have our next guest on. Okay, well, let's see. I'm going to come in and see where we're at. I do see we actually have a few people on our feed actually watching. We could definitely use the help getting the numbers up, and it's fun always talking to you guys. And my darn computer's lagging, Colin. It's lagging. Okay.
I know. It happens. You can fix it. I know.
Yeah. So Eddie, thank you so much for jumping in here. What's up? Daniel Alexander, what's up? You liked and shared. Thank you. Thank you so much. That's exactly what we need. We need all the likes, comments, and shares, boys and girls. So if you're watching this, you're one of the people that I see is watching this right now, please make sure to share this. We could use your help. We want to get that viewership up. In fact, we actually do have, I want to bring that up, Colin. We do have some potential sponsors super interested if we get our viewership up to over 300 people on Facebook. 300 people at a time. People are really gonna, or these sponsors are willing to come to the table and really help us out with the new studio. Very cool. Keep that in mind, boys and girls. If you really want to see this show improve, we definitely do. and we can only do it with your guys' help. Make sure to give likes, comments, and shares. While we're sitting here as well, Colin, please let our friend that's coming up know that he needs to actually call us.
Okay, sounds good. Let him know here. And alrighty.
Yeah, I'm having a few
Jeff,
issues
if you
with
could
Skype,
call
so
us,
that is kind of just one of those things that I'm trying to handle here by having them call, and it seems to work. You can kind of hear Colin in the background probably, but huge thank you as always, everybody. Likes, comments, and shares. We could definitely get those views up. I did see it jump a little bit ago. Yeah, we got a couple more in here. If you guys could like, comment, and share. Let your friends know. Oh, yep, there we go. Numbers going up. We could use the shares. Love it. You guys are awesome. So, anyways, Colin, where are we at with these next fights coming up? What are your thoughts on not the ones that you just kind of went over? Well, actually,
card after that maybe, or maybe
no.
There's a couple that I didn't talk about. With
did you talk about?
No, go up even higher than that one. Higher than that. Yeah, so let me talk about a couple other fights while we're waiting for Krista, our next guest, to call us. Raquel Pennington against Irene Aldana. Interesting fight. They've still got Raquel Rocky Pennington ranked as number 6, and they've got Irene Aldana ranked as number 10. So this is a battle of 2 top 10 contenders. I think Aldana may take it. There we go.
There we go. We do have the call in here.
Alrighty. Excellent. Jeff, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Excellent. We got you right there. Let me give you a proper introduction. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm really excited about this next guest. He is a member of Fortis MMA. You guys may know we've had the head coach, Saif Saud, on the show. We've had Macy Chesson on the show several times, and we're huge supporters and believers in that amazing team over in Texas. This man is on a streak, 5-fight win streak, amazing record of 11-2, including Dana White Contender Series and the UFC. The man is 4-0 with 3 stoppages in the last 4 fights. We're talking about Jeff Hands of Steel Neal. Welcome to the show, Jeff.
Hey, thank you for having me.
My pleasure. Man, I'm really anxious to talk to you. I know you have a big fight coming up. I'd like to let you do the honors of letting everyone know when and where that fight is going to happen.
That fight's against Nico Price in Edmonton, Canada for UFC 240, Holloway versus Edgar. It's going to be a great fight.
Absolutely. And what is that, July 27th?
Yes, sir.
That's exciting. Have you ever been to Canada?
No, never been to Canada.
No problem. I believe the seasons are the same there, so I don't think it's going to be that cold in July, or have you heard differently?
No, I look at the weather. Like, I put it in my phone. It's like low 50, high 70, so it's kind of like springish time here.
That's not too bad
so
at
all. It's going to feel good. It's not going to feel hot.
That's cool. And you train over in, is Fortis in Dallas or a different city in Texas? I forgot.
It's in Dallas.
Excellent. Are you from Texas yourself or somewhere else?
Yeah, technically I'm from Texas. I'm a military brat. I moved around. I was born in Austin, moved around, and came back here in 2005 and have left since.
Sounds very cool. So Nico Price, man, this is an interesting fight, man. This guy, I'm sure you watched tape on him. Did you watch that last fight against the Dirty Bird, Tim Means?
I did. I watched that.
That was an interesting.
That was the first one. I actually watched that live, and I was surprised that he came back like that. That was literally out of nowhere.
Yeah.
Nobody's seen that come.
It's really true. I'm sorry to interrupt you. And Tim Means is a tough guy. I think you're a better fighter than Tim Means and a different fighter than Tim Means. But I actually called that fight because I just felt that Tim Means, while being a tough guy, he's kind of a thin, kind of a lanky guy. And Nico Price, I felt, had more fast twitch fibers, more of an explosive fighter. And also, Nico has shown that he does have a pretty strong will to keep hanging in there. And, that's something that he pulled off against Means. It was an exciting fight, and it kind of gave you an idea of how the fact that he can dig down there. But like I said, you're a different fighter than Tim Means. How do you feel, without giving away any secrets you don't want to give away, how do you feel you match up against Nico Price? What are some of the interesting things that he brings to the table?
His fighting style is different. He doesn't look technical, but his punches come from weird angles, and they land and they work. You know what I mean? Like, when he knocked Tim Means out, that was like not a hook that a boxing instructor would show you like on the mitts, but it curved just enough and it hit Tim right on the chin, knocked him out. I feel like we match up well. We both have the same mentality going in the fight. We both like to fight, and we're going in there and we're going to throw punches until somebody falls. My advantage is I'm faster than them, and that's for sure. But other than that, it's going to be a good fight.
Absolutely, and I'm sure you're getting some great coaching from Safe. Anybody helping you for this camp over there at Fortis other than Safe?
Oh yeah, I got one of my striking coaches, Nathan Bagby, my strength and conditioning coach, Mike Scatia. I got Fit Mills Prep helping keep my diet down, and a whole bunch of training partners, Charles Burrs, Ramiz Brahima, Kennedy. We got a team.
Yeah, absolutely. That's going to be a really exciting fight. I really look forward to that, and I think that fight will continue to springboard you forward to getting close to having a number next to your name. I'm sure that's something in your mind as well.
Oh yeah, for sure. That's what I'm looking forward to after this fight.
Absolutely, really look forward to that. So tell us a little bit about yourself, man. Where were you before you became a pro MMA fighter? Did you have much of an amateur career? And then prior to that, were you a wrestler to start, or a boxer, or were you someone that just started learning everything at once? Tell us about your journey where you were at maybe 18 or 21 or 23 or wherever before you were a professional MMA fighter.
I grew up, football was my initial dream. I wanted to be a professional football player. That's all I wanted to be, and worked really hard to do it. I wrestled actually 1 year, but I couldn't juggle playing football and wrestling at the same time. But growing up, I always liked martial arts and all that. I bought boxing gloves, and I would walk around like with my friends, and we would have sparring matches just for the hell of it, like just because I liked to fight. Even though I was a football player, I liked the combat aspect. After football ended, I picked up MMA that had 11 amateur fights. I was 10-1. That was over the course of like 2.5 years. And then went pro in 2012, and now we're here right now.
That's awesome. So including amateur fights, you'd be like 23-3 altogether.
Yeah.
That's awesome. How important were those amateur fights to you in your opinion? And I believe that they're very important. I think most people that have them do feel they're important. I know, though, that it seems like you get a whole bunch of people that have maybe 4 or 6 amateur fights. But I really think having 10, 11 is important. What do you think that did, though, to help you? And how do you feel about having had that many amateur fights?
Having amateur fights really helped me because I came into the sport relatively green. You know what I mean? I didn't have nothing backing me. I didn't grow up doing like Muay Thai classes or jiu-jitsu or wrestling or nothing like that. So for me to come into the sport green, having that many amateur fights really helped me grow as a fighter. Rather than just having 4. Cause my first 4 fights were all knockouts. You know what I mean? My coach could be like, "Oh yeah, you're ready to go pro." I would have went pro, and I would have not been here today.
Right.
If I would have went pro that early. So I'm glad I took. Because everybody's stories. Some people, they have 4 pro fights, but they wrestled their whole life. You know what I mean? So they already got that aspect of the game down. So, you know what I mean? Their wrestling's already at a pro level. They just got to clean up some striking and they can go pro. But my path was a little different.
Yeah, it makes sense, and I think that's a really good point. So, who were the people that were impressing you before you started even your amateur career, and what year did you first see your first UFC fight, if you remember, or around what year? And who were the people, if any, that you were impressed with?
My first MMA fight, like this is gonna sound weird. It was Forrest Griffin and Stephen Bonner. That fight.
Awesome.
I seen that. Yeah, I was in the basement of my room was in the basement, so I was down there and I was watching it, and I was like, man, I fucking love this shit, and that actually inspired me to buy the boxing gloves because I wanted to like do that. I thought it was fun, and after that, my dad bought me a boxing bag and then a weight set, and I just like practice. I had no inspiration to fight, but I just like I said, I love the aspect of fighting.
Nice. And what were you like in junior high school then, or something?
Yeah, I was. I think I was not junior high school. I was either 8th grade or 9th grade.
Nice. That's cool. Yeah. So you got excited. That's been amazing. And so Forrest and Stefan both impressed you. After that, though, were there any superstars that really impressed you as far as anyone that you really looked up to or thought you'd like to have a style like that?
Yeah, I was a big fan of GSP and Anderson Silva at the time. I was GSP first, and then I started becoming a fan of Anderson, and then I started leaning more towards the Anderson side once they started comparing the two. You know, I was like, fuck, you can't compare like my favorite two fighters. So I just picked one, and Anderson Silva was my favorite fighter.
Yeah, he was amazing. Remember how for all those years they talked about those two fighting? What they talked about that for 5 or 6 years, didn't they?
Yeah, I know. Yeah, they never fought. I'm glad they never fought because I
Yeah.
wouldn't be able to watch that fight.
Yeah, I know, man. They're both such great guys. It would have been terrible to see them lose. But yeah, they're amazing, man. Well, you are a very balanced fighter, and I think at Fortis, that's one thing that's really important. They, I think, head coach Saif Saud gets it that you can't have fighters that have glaring weaknesses. And you know, right? Like even in the Ben Askren fight, not to put down Ben Askren when a man's down, and I'm never a guy that does that because he's an amazing fighter. But I think that Ben Askren was trying to say, you know, I'm going to beat people really without any striking game at all. And he was able to do it, but then he got up into the UFC and it started to be a little bit more difficult. Now anyone can get caught. Even if you have a striking game, you can get caught.
Yeah.
But I think that you guys really work on balance and everything like that a lot at Fortis. And I think you got the jiu-jitsu going, you got the striking and going, and you got the wrestling going. And do you feel equally comfortable with all of them as much as you want to say? I would imagine you probably feel good about all of them. Or do you feel like you're proving to be elite in one of those?
I feel comfortable all of them. I feel like I'm more elite on the striking. I do have good jits. I do have good wrestling. Not my go-to, but it is there if it's needed. But striking is my bread and butter. That's where I want to. That's what's gonna make me the money.
Absolutely. And when you see a fight in your division like Askren and Masvidal, and you see all the action that's going on up there with Kamaru Usman and Colby Covington and Leon Edwards and Rafael dos Anjos, I know you probably say, I'm going to be in there with these guys before too long, huh?
Oh yeah, for sure, for sure. I do look at that, but I'm a one step at a time. Right now, I'm really just trying to get past Nico Price. He's not somebody to look past. I'm like, oh, I'm going to be up there with them. I gotta take care of that problem before I worry about them.
Without a doubt, and that's really important. And so you had what? Yeah. You have a full camp for that Nico Price fight, or was that a little bit shorter notice?
I mean, as far as like I got the fight on like 35 days notice, but it was not like I was just like sitting around. I've been training since the Bilal Muhammad fight, so I've been in the gym. I've been busting my ass. I've been doing strength conditioning 3 times a week. So once I got the fight, nothing really changed. I just kept the routine going. The only thing changed is I've been doing more running, and that's it.
Nice, very cool. I remember that Bilal Muhammad fight, and I remember I was one of the few people that I know that picked you to win. And Bilal, as you know, was such a rugged veteran. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So he had more experience than you and fought better guys and all this and that. And I was really impressed with that. And I didn't know you personally, but having known Macy at that point, man, she's such a nice person. I said, man, I got to cheer for Fortis MMA. That was before I had Coach Saud on the show, and I was cheering for you. And people are saying, I don't know, man, this guy Bilal is gonna catch Jeff. And I was like, no, come on, Jeff, come on. I was yelling, man. I was like, keep doing what you're doing. Like, I try to coach, and my girlfriend's like, A, no one can hear you yelling in the TV, and B, he already has coaches. And I'm like, I know that, but I'm just, I really want Jeff to win. And I was really happy, man, that you really hung in there. Were there any points that you felt in danger there, or was there anything that surprised you in that fight?
Nothing. No, everything went exactly as I expected that fight to really go. I wasn't expecting to get a knockout. I knew he was tough. I knew it was going to be a problem to try to finish him. He did hurt me in the second round. He hit me in the stomach. It kind of messed me up for like about 30 seconds. It wasn't that too serious, but yeah, that fight, I was prepared for that fight.
Yeah, and I think having that fight before this Nico Price fight, I think was a very good situation to get you prepared.
Yeah, I mean, I say Nico and Bilal are like 2 different fighters. Bilal's more of a pointer, and Nico's a finisher. So it's even though Bilal on paper is better than Nico's still a dangerous person. You really can't. He's a finisher. You can't sleep on a finisher.
Yeah, without a doubt. But I think they both have hard heads.
Oh yeah, oh for sure.
Yeah,
I think blows might be a little harder, but both my hands were swelled up like
yep.
two big old grapefruits after the fight.
Absolutely, I can imagine. I can imagine. Some people don't know, the damage that you guys get in there, and man, I have all the respect for you because it's tough, man. It's funny when someone watches a fight and they don't hear the impact of the punches and they don't hear your hands being crunched. I think a lot of people tend to feel that you can get into an MMA fight in a really all-out war and not take any damage, and in reality, that couldn't be further from the truth. So, absolutely, the hands can be messed up, and I'm glad you're getting a chance to heal up from that, man. And it's rough,
Sure.
it's rough sport, isn't it?
No, it is a rough sport, but I love it.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I'm excited about this fight. I think it's going to be great. I think you're going to be too good an athlete for Nico, and being faster than him is going to be really important. Do you ever look at things, and I'm curious, do you ever look at fighters, or your coaching staff ever look at fighters and try to point out any weaknesses, like to give you more confidence? Not that you need more confidence, but what I was thinking is, like, if I was a coach in this particular fight, and I've never been a professional coach, but I would almost tell my fighter, if you were my fighter, Nico is a tough guy. There's nothing against him. There's nothing about him that's not tough. But the guys that he beats, that he has beaten, aren't really as good as you and aren't, the best of the best. Will a coach ever say that, or is that something a coach doesn't want to say because they don't want you to feel, oh, I'm going in here against a walkover?
It all depends on the coach, and because what I mean, some fighters, it depends on the coach and it depends on the fighter. To be honest, my coach, he never wants you to like underestimate your opponent, so he really won't say something like that. But I've had coaches that like, hey man, you're way better than this dude. You should just run through him
right
in the first round. But it just depends on the reaction from the fighter. You know what I mean? Sometimes like coaches saying stuff like that boosts the fighter's confidence, but sometimes it might inflate that fighter's ego and he might go in there and be careless. So you just got to be careful with stuff like that as a coach.
That makes sense, and I appreciate that insight. Jorge Masvidal's 1 piece and a soda against Ben Askren. Are we going to start seeing a whole bunch of flying knees going on, you think, in the next several months?
Not to that extent. Not running across the cage doing a flying knee. Like you've seen many people do that 100 times, but it never really worked. But Masvidal's just happened to work because it was the perfect fight for that. But nah, flying knees, that's how you get knocked out. Somebody's going to get knocked out of the air.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. Or just miss and taken down and end up on their back, or maybe even caught in the air and slammed. Yeah. Absolutely, absolutely. Well, I know you were kind enough to agree to give me your opinion on some big upcoming fights this Saturday. I really appreciate that. So let's jump quickly into the pros pick segment, and let me ask your opinion on some people here. If you don't know them, let me know, and we'll move on to the next one. But are you familiar enough? Well, you know what? Here we go. This is your teammate, so obviously you can be biased on this. But tell me a little bit about how you think Steven Ocho Peterson is going to match up with Bruce Leroy, Alex Caceres.
Steven, I feel like Steven's going to get him. I'm not going to give him the game plan. Steven's going to get the first round finish. He's growing as a fighter. I'm watching him grow. He used to take a lot of damage. He has more head movement. He's faster. He's been doing the Mike Scation strength and conditioning, so I'm seeing him become like more explosive. He's going to be a completely different fighter, and now he's going to get this finish.
And that will be his first UFC fight, right?
His first UFC fight, Stevens?
Is it? Because wasn't he in the Contender Series, or has he fought in the UFC?
He's fought in the UFC. He fought, and me and him both made our pro debuts together in Austin, I'm pretty sure, and he had 2 fights after that. So yes, he's had 3 fights in the UFC.
Oh wow, I don't know what I was looking at. But I guess I'm thinking someone else. But okay, so he is definitely experienced and will do well. I appreciate that insight. I'll be cheering for him. How about Alex Hernandez, one weight division below you? Are you familiar enough with Alex Hernandez and Francisco Trinaldo or not?
Yeah. Trinaldo's really good, but I just feel like it's a young man sport, and I feel like Hernandez is going to just overwhelm Trinaldo.
Yeah.
But you never know.
I mean, yeah, that's what I was just going to say. What do you think a young guy like Hernandez experiences after getting just pieced up by Cowboy Cerrone? You would hope that he can put that behind him and that doesn't affect him or change his his career or his confidence or his style, and it's possible that it wouldn't. But what would you say? Do you think that would or should have any negative effects, or do you think he's going to be able to get by that and basically, you know, come out looking really great here?
I mean, to be honest, he needed that. He was talking a lot of crap about Cerrone, and it offended me because, like, you know, Cerrone's a legend. So I was like, what are you saying? So when Cerrone went out there and whooped his ass, I'm glad he did.
Yeah, me too.
And and I feel like it made him a little bit more humble, or a lot more humble.
Yeah.
And he'll bounce back from it. I'm rooting for him this fight, but the Cerrone fight, I wanted him to get smashed, and that's what happened. But I think he'll bounce back.
I agree, and I wanted that as well too, because I'm an old timer myself, being watching this sport since the first event, and he was so disrespectful to Cerrone. He was saying if he saw him somewhere in the street, he'd smack him, you know, or something like that. And I was thinking, how do you say that you're 25 years old against a legend of the sport, you know? But yeah, that was good. But I think he's learned a little humility from that, and I think hopefully he'll come back stronger because he's a talented kid, that's for sure. How about in your division, James Vick, the Texecutioner, another Texan, going up against Dan Hangman Hooker? You familiar enough with them?
I'm not familiar with Dan Hooker, but I know James Vick. His striking is awesome. He's always game. Whenever he's fighting, I'm rooting for him, so he's going to win automatically.
I like that. I like that too. I think he will. He's a tough guy, and representing Texas, you got a lot of tough, great fighters there. Okay, how about a couple fights with the big men? A guy who was on our show a couple times, fighting out of Colorado, mostly the Kraken, Juan Adams, is going up. He's going up against the very high-profile Greg Hardy. And one thing is for sure, I'd like to see the betting odds that fight won't go the distance, because if I have any money on that particular week, which is this Saturday, there's no way, am I right, that's going the distance. But how does that fight unfold? What should we look for in that fight with those two very big men?
Just open your eyes and don't blink. I've seen Juan has been talking shit for like the past couple months. He really doesn't like Greg Hardy. He always calls him out about the domestic violence thing, and that fight's gonna be over in like 30 seconds. Somebody's getting knocked out. For sure.
I think so too. And Juan is a really nice guy. He may be talking trash, but you know, he's got to build up the fight. And he's a really cool dude. He's a fun personality and a nice guy. And it'd be nice to put Greg Hardy kind of out of this whole thing. And you know, but Juan's got to be smart. But I think the wrestling, Juan has a wrestling, and but I think he likes to bang. But it's going to be interesting to see. And you know, it's too bad they have to force these guys come in at 265, because Juan Adams at 6'5", I think walks around at 295. And you know, but hey, you know, and you remember in the old days there wasn't any weight limit. I don't know if you've been watching the sport that long, but it used to be unlimited. In fact, I remember in UFC number 3, they had Emmanuel Yarborough, who was 6'8" and 616 pounds. I don't know if you ever saw that.
That's crazy.
It was nuts, man. And God bless him. He's since passed away. But man, I remember that he came into a cage and he was wearing just his gi pants and chewing gum. And I remember the guy fighting him was 5'11" and 200 pounds even. 418-pound weight difference, 9-inch height. And the commentators were saying, what does Keith Hackney have to do? And one guy said, I think he's got to throw low leg kicks. And then he repeated low leg kicks. And the other guy said, I don't think he can hurt him with a kick. I mean, there's too much weight there. How are you going to get all right? And then he threw a crazy, like, overhead, you know, heel palm and caught him, and then ended up having to punch him about 8. No, before that, after he caught him, the big man got back up. And at that time, the cage door was not deadbolted. And the big man started pulling off Keith Hackney's wrestling singlet and then shoved him out the door. And Keith Hackney flew out the octagon door, and they brought him back in to continue the fight. And that's when he landed the heel palm and knocked the big man down. And then he had to hit him about 75 times before the referee stopped it. It was a crazy matchup. And I remember the interviewer afterward talked to Yarborough and said, man, it was amazing. It wasn't incredible. It was amazing. And Yarborough said, yeah, amazing that I lost. You know? And then he said, yeah, but it was, yeah, it was silly. The commentator didn't know what he was talking about. He said, yeah, but it was incredible to see you. That was just great and fabulous. And he said, well, thank you very much. But anyway, man, yeah, that was the old days. But let's get on to the last two fights here to get your opinion on the big ticket, Walt Harris against Alexei Olenek. You familiar enough with those guys?
Not familiar with Alexei, but Walt Harris, he has some hands, and I'm pulling for him. I'm always a fan of the strikers, like the good, fast, technical strikers. I'm pulling for Walt Harris in that one.
Yeah, absolutely, and he's a tough guy. Walt Harris is an exciting fighter. The guy he's fighting, and I may be wrong on this, but Alexei Olenek, I know there's a few guys from the Eastern Bloc that have a name with an O. I know the other guy is Daniel Omelianchuk or something. But one of these guys has been beating people with an Ezekiel choke, which you don't see that often, right?
Ezekiel choke with no gi?
With no gi, yep. And the last time the man beat his opponent in the UFC from on his back with an Ezekiel choke.
Word. Okay, that's crazy.
Yeah, and I think this might be this guy, Olenek. I may be wrong, but I think it is. And so I think Harris got to be careful going to the ground with this man, but if he doesn't, I think it's all his, yeah. Okay, and the final fight is in your division. We are talking about RDA, Rafael Dos Anjos, against the man from England, Leon Edwards, whose brother is also becoming a good MMA fighter in Fabian Edwards. So can't have anything probably better than having your blood brother high level with you. So those are good fighters. But can you give me an analysis on how you think that fight will play out, and what do you think as a high level professional UFC fighter is going to be the key thing for each of those two gentlemen to win the fight?
Well, I feel like Leon just by his explosiveness, his speed, and his talents, he might be better than RDA, but what it's going to come down to is going to experience. You know, if RDA could drag it out to 5 rounds, and if Leon could keep up with the pace for 5 rounds, that's really going to decide who's going to pull out the win there. If Leon could figure out a way to keep his cardio and be able to deal with the pressure that RDA needs to put on Leon, then Leon should win.
Yeah, it's an interesting matchup, isn't it? You have the younger fighter, the fresher fighter with less wear and tear on him, is also the taller fighter and the faster striker. But on the flip side, the other man is way more experienced and a much superior wrestler.
Yeah.
So it's kind of interesting, right? When you have those factors there, I guess it's kind of a question is who can impose their will more than the other, right? And I would think that that RDA is going to want to try to do some wrestling for sure. I think a lot of people, right? A lot of people look at Leon's fight with Gunnar Nelson, and they say, well, if he could do that with Gunnar Nelson, then he should beat RDA. But I don't think Gunnar Nelson has the wrestling that RDA has. Do you?
That's hard for me to judge, but I just feel like RDA is so used to those 5-round fights that's really going to be the deciding factor. Even if his wrestling's not that much better than Gunner's, I feel like he's ready for those championship rounds.
Yeah, absolutely. So, Masvidal, I know you had to be impressed with that fight over Askren. Masvidal wants the title, but it's going to be Usman against Colby Covington. Give me a quick thought: who wins, Usman and Covington, and then how the winner does against Masvidal.
Usman's going to destroy Covington, in my opinion.
Gotcha.
I'm hoping. I mean, that's just my opinion, but I really feel that in Usman versus Jorge, Masvidal has good striking. I feel like it's better than Usman's, but that all depends on how well Jorge can defend Usman's wrestling.
Yeah, without a doubt. I think Usman beats Covington as well. I think it'd be an interesting fight. It could end up being a boring as hell fight where people are booing.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking.
Yeah, you know, but hopefully not. Hopefully someone throws something. But then Usman against Masvidal could be interesting. Can you tell me, with Usman seeing what Masvidal did to Askren, will that be in his head at all? I mean, obviously Usman is an amazing fighter and a great champion, but will something like that make Usman change his game or have a fear of getting caught with a knee and maybe make him more tentative? Or how do you think a guy in Usman's position processes what he saw against Masvidal and then fights Masvidal after seeing something like that?
I honestly, I feel Usman will be okay because Usman is not a wrestle first type of dude. You know what I mean? Like he'll come out with the hands and pressure you before he goes to takedown. He'll like, you know what I mean? When he fought Woodley, he backed him up all the way to the cage before he made his entrance. You know, if Jorge's back's on the cage, he's not going to be able to get a running start to jump and throw a knee. So that shouldn't be a problem at all for Usman.
Makes sense. And you know what? I'm catching myself on one thing. I have a feeling that I'm forgetting what I just saw recently. I think it was supposed to be Covington Usman, but am I wrong, or did I recently see it's going to be Robbie Lawler Covington, or was it Lawler someone else? Have you looked lately?
No, you know what? I think it is Lawler and Covington.
That's right, and I don't know why that would be because, well, I mean, I guess I don't know. Maybe Dana doesn't like Covington that much, and nobody does. So maybe I don't know. Or was Usman hurt? Did you hear why that fight didn't happen?
I have no clue. No clue on that one.
So then we're looking at Robbie Lawler against Covington. That's interesting. You think Lawler's got any chance at all in that one, or what do you think?
Yeah. I feel like he does. Honestly, to be honest, it just depends if Robbie could take him out within the first or the second, he should win. But Kobe doesn't get tired, so he'll probably just hold on to Robbie for dear life 3 rounds. So we'll see.
Makes sense. If Colby wins that fight, who deserves to fight Usman, Colby or Masvidal?
I feel like Colby and Masvidal should fight for that right, you know?
That makes sense. And then Usman can heal up or whatever he needs to do. It'd be exciting, man. Well, in the last 5 minutes or a few minutes we have with you, man, is there any advice you can give to an upcoming fighter that's got a few wins and is really trying to get somewhere? Let's say they don't have a real good team. What can they do to try to find a good team and to prepare themselves best for the harder competition and for the journey, that it takes to get where you are?
First, I would say you got to be patient, and you got to really, really work hard. Be honest with yourself, and be honest with yourself. Like as far if you feel like your team's not good enough, be honest with yourself. Maybe it's you. You know, like a coach can only do so much. You know, a coach can show you 1,000,001 techniques, but it's up to you whether you process that. You know, like if you're in school, you get taught something. Sometimes you got to go home and do homework to retain that information. So if a coach is teaching you a combination, maybe you should go home, look in the mirror, work on that same combination to get in your muscle memory. You know, just work hard and be patient. Don't jump on when you're a pro. Don't come in that mentality. I'll fight anybody, anytime, anywhere. I've seen plenty of good fighters that should be in the UFC, not in the UFC because they've taken dumb fights at times where they shouldn't. And work hard. That's what it really comes down to. You got to work hard.
Makes sense. And for a young person yet who hasn't even embarked on their career but are thinking about being a fighter, can you share some realities with someone who might be a teenager watching and saying, you know what, I think I want to do that. I think I can do that. Can you give some information as to what is some of the realities, maybe good and bad, as far as thinking about becoming a fighter if you're talking to someone who's maybe wrestling or boxing or doing jiu-jitsu now and they're a teenager in high school?
Honestly, I feel like if you want to be a fighter, try it out. You know, start off in the amateur ranks and see how well you do. You'll know. Honestly, you'll know if you love fighting or not. If you're at a good gym and you're training hard, and you got training partners that whoop your ass. Like, if you can get your ass kicked a lot, like if you get your ass kicked in the gym, you come back and you want more of it. You probably would like to be a fighter, but just be honest with yourself. If you know you're not good enough, don't put all your eggs in one basket because fighting is unforgiving. You know, you start losing, you get tossed to the side, and nobody remembers you. So be careful.
Absolutely. In fact, that's one thing that I've said. I don't know if I'm the one that coined this phrase, but when I talk to people who are not that familiar with fighting or young people who are talking about maybe wanting to do it or something, I never want to discourage anyone. But one thing I say is that MMA fighting is a sport where it's not a good thing if you're bad at it and you're staying in it.
Yeah, not at all.
Definitely a hard living to be bad at, so it's something that, you got to be realistic with yourself and you got to be smart and you got to, make sure you have good people around you because it's an individual sport, but with a good team behind you and around you, it really becomes like a team, a sport in a way, doesn't it?
Yeah, that's 100%.
Absolutely. So if there's anyone you want to shout out, any sponsors or any friends, feel free to do that. And then please let us know how people can support you and find you on social media.
Shout out to my coaches and my team, Fortis MMA, Extreme Studio Performance, Fit Mills Prep, Fight Fit Cryo. Have a whole bunch of other sponsors. I should have wrote it down to shout them all out. But you can find me on Instagram and Twitter at Hands of Steel MMA. That's HANDZ of Steel MMA. I'm on there pretty frequent, not too often, but I'm gonna start picking up my social media game soon once I have more time.
Absolutely, always a good thing to do. And remind us again the date and the city, and if you know the arena for this big fight coming up for you.
July 27th in Edmonton, Canada. I think the arena is at Rogers Place. Yeah, it's at Rogers Place in Edmonton.
Excellent, and you're fighting Nico Price, and you're going to bring home the W, man. I want to thank you so much, Jeff Neal, for taking the time out of your busy schedule to join us here on the MMA Power Hour.
Hey, thank you for having me, man. I appreciate it.
You're very welcome. Keep up the great work. We'll be cheering for you.
Thanks, sir.
Take care. Have a good night. And that was Jeff Hands of Steel Neal, another member of what is becoming one of the most respected MMA gyms out there, Fortis MMA, out of Dallas, Texas.
Definitely keep an eye on Fortis MMA for those of you who haven't been. It's kind of crazy how much, how quickly they've jumped up and how much these fighters out of there are really dominating.
Yeah, they have I think 5 or 6 or even 7 fighters in the UFC, and they're just winning and winning and winning. You know, we have Jeff Neal here, we have Macy Chesson, Bea Malecki.
Well, for the size of the gym, that number is huge. You know, you look at some of these other gyms, it's not necessarily a big number, but it is a huge number for the size of their gym. And I'm really impressed by everything the Safe is doing. And I mean, the whole team, they're really just a thing. And, you know, Safe was bringing up how, you know, it's a little more of an exclusive situation for them and their situation. They're not shopping out for fighters to come join them, and they're, you know, they're always open to it, but they're trying to keep it small, a nice close knit community, and the way they're doing it is working. It's awesome just watching it, and I would love to see a repeat with somebody else somewhere too. No offense to any of these other fighters or Safe, but would like to see a repeat so that way our community has more of that small gym, small community, tight knit vibe going on.
Yeah, it really it's a great model.
Yeah, and Jackson Wink's good at that too, but they're also growing and trying to expand a little bit, which is also a good thing. Don't get me wrong, but it is nice seeing these just small, you know, maybe 10 to a dozen people training together and consistently pushing stuff out.
Exactly. And they have that many high level people. They may have double that as far as other people, you know. So we're not saying we know they've only got 10 or 12 people to work with, but I don't think they have 50 or 100. So
no, he was telling me that a lot, or not me. He wasn't he telling us it was small, like a dozen, and then they bring in other people to train with them. But
but you're right. Maybe they have like a dozen people that they're really focused.
If I remember correctly, I'll go back and watch that episode.
That interview was about 2 months ago with Coach Saif Saud.
Absolutely.
Maybe 6 weeks ago. But yeah, great school, Fortis MMA. Jeff Neal, really cool guy, man. I like him. He's got a relaxed, easygoing personality, but also is very sharp and very on top of all the questions that I asked him. And really nice guy. I like Jeff Neal, and I'm going to be cheering for him. Big fight, because I actually have been a fan of Nico Price, the man he's fighting for a while. Nico Price.
I know you were calling him out as like one of the next big things.
Yeah, I was. I just because he's a warrior. He's got
but now he's fighting one of our guests that's such a great guy. Like, what are you going to do?
Well, what I'm going to do is I'm going to cheer for Jeff Neal, because Fortis MMA, we had a great interview with Safe. He's a great guy. We've had a few interviews with Macy. We've interviewed Jeff. I don't know Nico Price personally. I've thrown out the olive.
We have learned that karma helps you out.
Yeah.
When it comes to our show. So all you fighters that want to come on and actually do come on, you're 9 times out of 10 getting good luck.
It's true.
I am learning we're kind of a good luck charm for a lot of you people out there, and I'm open to having more of these amazing fighters coming on our show every week just for that purpose. And
without a doubt,
maybe we can work something out for a few 30-second. Hey, this is me and me
doing your promo. Yeah, if you would, we'd love that. Yeah, we don't want to impose, but it does seem like, and I haven't gone over all the numbers, but I really do believe that at least 80% of our guests that are on the show before a fight, and most are because there's going to be a fight coming up somewhere in the future, whether they're on after having just won a fight and their next fight's 2 or 3 months away, or whether they're coming on a week or two before a fight, I think about 80% of the fighters that come on our show win that very next fight. And it might even be a little bit better. So I think maybe
some of it's who we're picking as guests, but we're a good luck charm. Definitely, come on. We can work something out if you want to give us a shout out, something like that. We can figure something out. Anyways,
to throw the good karma
everybody that's tuned in right now, thank you so much again. Make sure to give us a like, comment, and share. Check out our sponsors going across the screen. I'm not going to shout them out another time this episode, not because they don't deserve it, but because we do not have enough time. So, Colin, I'm going to hand the mic over to you to wrap it up, and I will see everybody in 3 weeks because next 2 weeks I have to take off to go handle some family stuff.
Yep, absolutely. And so I will try to do some FaceTime interviews during that time and a Wednesday night, if at all possible. In the last minute and a half we have here, I want to thank both of our guests so much. Chris Breezy and the Future Brown was our first guest. Thank you so much, brother. Really appreciate it. Jeff Hands of Steel, Neil, our second guest. Thank you so much, brother. I really appreciate it. Both of you, really great guys. Looking forward to you both taking home the W. I know Chris doesn't have a fight scheduled, but he will soon. And Jeff has that great fight at the UFC in Canada. Go ahead and spread the love. Be that guy, be that girl. Spread the love in a positive way. Let people know you have their back, your family, your friends, your neighbors, your coworkers even. Take good care of your pets. They love you, and they're there, actually, I believe, to be a good luck charm and to bring safety and peace and love to you. So let them know that you appreciate them for that, because I think our pets are wonderful, magical, beautiful creatures. So love your pets, love yourself, be kind, gentle with yourself, and you deserve it. I'll be announcing, our next couple weeks off. So we will have an amazing show coming back in 3 weeks. I'll put out some blasts about some FaceTime interviews. Thank you so much for joining us. You guys mean everything, and more than just fans, you're friends. So for Adam Rorta, MMA Power Hour, this is Colin Crandall, and I'm tapping out.